You're still watching TVC Breakfast. Now, the People's Democratic Party Secretariat in Abuja was thrown into chaos yesterday as two factions of the party struggled to dominate party's leadership. What began as a scheduled meeting of the National Executive Committee quickly spiraled into a full-blown standoff as rival factions arrived with hardened positions and competing claims to legitimacy. Now, the latest development within the party is the expulsion of Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, and others by the Abdurrahman faction of the party. Now, the group backed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike also dissolved the Oyo, Bauchi, Ekiti, and Lagos State executives. TVC News senior correspondent Femi Akande has more on this report.
The showdown intensified the moment Governors Seyi Makinde and Bala Mohammed arrived at Wadata Plaza, attempting to take control of the situation and assert authority over the ongoing crisis. But they were met with fierce resistance from the pro-Wike faction, whose loyalists had already taken positions both inside and around the secretariat, insisting that the meeting could not proceed under what they described as a compromised leadership structure. Within minutes, the atmosphere shifted from tense to combustible. Shouting matches erupted, party members pushing, shoving, and then the unmistakable crack of tear gas canisters fired into the air, sending crowds scattering in panic. Police officers deployed to maintain order instead became the center of the chaos, firing multiple rounds of tear gas as the rival groups surged toward the gates, each trying to force passage into the secretariat. Journalists covering the confrontation were not spared. Several reporters were hit by tear gas, with some collapsing on the pavement, while others clutched their equipment, battling to regain visibility and breath as officers struggled to disperse the swelling crowd. The scene was nothing short of political theater, complete with smoke, confrontation, and the battle for supremacy between PDP's most influential blocs. At the heart of it all was a bitter dispute over control of the party's leadership and the legitimacy of decisions taken in recent weeks. The Makinde-Bala faction attempted to project unity and order, insisting the party must reclaim structure and discipline. But the Wike faction stood its ground, refusing to back down and accusing the governors of hijacking the party for personal interests.
We are here to sit in to see what will happen. Our property, we have been tear gassed as governors. We have been molested in spite of our immunity in time and whatever that we have as leaders in our own right with our chairman. Well, it is for the nation to gauge the kind of democracy we have, the kind of leadership that we have. I will advise the presidency that it should not keep people who are no longer useful in terms of managing the political space, managing our diversity, creating unity and governance. We don't want to cause trouble to anybody. Yes, we are in the opposition. We should be allowed to survive.
Democracy is under threat. I'm calling on all other developed nations, all advanced democracies, come and save Nigeria, come and save democracy. Because I cannot understand how a serving minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be leading talks, armed talks, and then with the active connivance or support of the police to come and create mayhem here. I have said it, we are willing to lay down our lives to protect our office, to protect our democracy, to protect our mandate.
With no side yielding, the clash grew more heated and the physical confrontation impossible to contain. By midday, the Wadata Plaza resembled a conflict zone rather than the headquarters of a major political party, with shattered protocol, injured supporters, journalists in distress, and police lines struggling to hold their ground. And as the smoke finally began to clear, one thing became unmistakably evident. The PDP's internal war has reached a breaking point, and today's chaos may only be the beginning of a deeper battle for the soul of the opposition in Nigeria. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We're now going to have a very important conversation with PDP chieftain Segun Showme. Good morning, sir. He's in our Abuja studio. We're going to be having this conversation.
Good morning. How is Lagos?
Fine, thank you, sir. How is Abuja as well?
It's good to see you today, sir.
Okay. All right. So we'll just go straight into this discussion. We know that the PDP was founded in 1998. And since then, they've had a certain pedigree. You know, in Nigeria, people have seen that party take center stage. And just to see where the party has deteriorated to, the world is watching. You know, Nigerians are watching. We're almost getting to 2027. At the end of the day, can we still say that PDP is that formidable opposition party that can stand the test of time? Also, Governor Bala Mohammed made a bold statement yesterday, the governor of Bauchi State, where he said that Wike was the main problem of the PDP. So I'm throwing to you the first question. What is really happening with the PDP? And is it true that Wike is actually the main problem and the main issue of the PDP?
Thank you very much. Good morning. Let me start by saying that on behalf of the PDP, I truly apologize for that unfortunate spectacle that took place yesterday, especially at this time. Condolences to the family of the general that was killed. Condolences and heartfelt condolences to people of Kebbi who have to deal with insurgency and all of that. And I encourage the federal government and everybody that has one role to play or the other to figure out a comprehensive reaction to this insurgency. We can't live every day with the same story and the same condolences. Now, having said that, a political party like the PDP that was founded and created at the start of this particular republic in 1998 must be able to trace how it got itself to where it is now. Because what I have observed is that people have treated the issues on the surface and they have tended to point fingers at each other. People like to say that Wike is responsible for everything that is going on with the PDP. But I have a different point of view, and that is that in the first instance, had the organization been well structured, had the organization been reformed when we were shouting for reform, would one individual be able to do the much that they say one individual is doing? I don't agree. The latest piece is the charade that happened yesterday. What I would say to that is that when the parties go to court and they often like to scream, internal affairs, internal affairs, internal affairs, it is for the avoidance of that type of breakdown of law and order that the courts sometimes painfully weigh in helping to interpret, their constitution and the Electoral Act. However, the courts are damn if they do, damn if they don't. When the court looks at the argument before it and gives a judgment, those that the judgment did not favor will embarrassingly run to town and say it was not a good judgment. But they will forget that when the court then gives a judgment that favors them, then they say the judgment is good. That's where we have found ourselves. In terms of whether the party can survive, I have become persuaded that it can only now begin to survive after 2027. I believe that it has almost but shot itself out of 2027. If you look at the number of governors on the stable of the party who have left, if you look at our last outing in Anambra, never mind that APC won, Abga won, APC did well, some others did well, PDP had zero show in there. If you look at what's going on all around the country, you will just get the impression that what we were supposed to deal with on time, that for selfish reasons they didn't deal with it, and has now come to hit us all in the face. In terms of how do I place the burden of responsibility here, I would like to say very clearly and firmly that the most difficult period that PDP had in its history was 2015 when it lost to the APC of President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, because it has never been in opposition before, that was a bit strange. To God be the glory, and to the respect of now the man who is often called the aggressor all the time, he was able to provide leadership first among his committee of governors in the PDP Governors Forum, and at least whatever they did, they could take, decision together. Dovetail it back to what's happening today. The one who calls himself the chairman of the Governors Forum is barely able to even get a committee of 5 people to agree. Then when you look at the cause effect, you realize that this particular one now started just about when the IU-led NWC was about to put together the 2023 presidential campaign contest. Every appeal to common sense, for people to take it easy, recognize party supreme, let us endure, fell on deaf ears. Among those who said that was not the right way then is the one in Ibadan now, who suddenly have found his Nigerian PDP, party supreme, anti-party sir, and unfortunately they are just making a mess. When the secretary did, I don't know what to call him now, the secretary of the party, let me land this thought. When the secretary of the party kept getting pushed, and they kept reacting, and getting pushed and reacting, and getting pushed and reacting, look at what has happened now. They've gone to Ibadan against court judgments. They've pronounced people expelled. Of course, the other side too have expelled them, and now we have a situation where they are fighting for who's going to occupy a building, forgetting that it is actually in the mind of the Nigerian people and in the mind of the electorate that most of this damage is being done.
Mr. Shomi, we're going to go on a quick break. Please just hold your thoughts. We're going on a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you so much, Mr. Shomi. Please, you can continue with your thoughts. Thank you for staying with us.
So, like I was trying to explain, you have to peel it layer by layer by layer. Sometimes you can go from what is the most current and start saying what caused that action, then what caused that action, and what caused that action. You will find out that contrary to what they like to say, the people who have been the ones that have been accused of being the responsible have actually been the ones that have been bending backward over and reacting. They were the ones that when Justice Omotosho gave a ruling and said, go fix your house, go put your house in order, blah, 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 they didn't even wait to let the dust of the word settle. What did they do? They ran into a meeting and said they suspended some of their colleagues. And their colleagues, in reaction, suspended them. Then they ran into a foreign shopping spree in Ibadan to get an ex parte order, pretending as if an ex parte can nullify a court of a high court of equal jurisdiction who had given a judgment, pretending as if it could serve as an appeal. Anyway, long story short, we waited for Justice Lifu on the vexed issue of former Jigawa governor who was trying to buy the form. It's just a symptom of what was the general play. They printed forms, they hoarded it among themselves. They didn't produce the people that were to buy. They didn't give the opportunity for people to actively and comprehensively contest polls. Sule Lamido tried to buy, they didn't make it happen. Long story short, Justice Lifuna, a second judge, also said, don't go ahead with it until you are done. Of course, those who are in charge of our country now, being very weak and unwilling to take hard decisions, allowed them to gather in Ibadan when it could have been stopped. Because in the former times, we had this kind of situation in Port Harcourt. On 2 occasions, we were ready to go to a convention. The court said, stop, and we stopped until we were able to resolve it, and then we can go back. A convention is not designed to be a platform where 1 or 2 people start to masquerade as if they represent the totality of the party, showing their leak spittle and the people they can easily impress into a platform that is already injured by virtue of court judgment, and then you expect people not to react. And then, okay, if we are so sure that you had authority, what symbolic need was it for you to go and start fighting yourself and tear-gassing yourself in the building? Does the building make the party, or does the party make the building? To the best of my knowledge, we're just still appealing to Nyesom Wike a couple of weeks ago to help resolve the issue of even the ground rent of that building.
That's right.
So I think that generally, if we're going to be fair to ourselves, the handlers of the party have been quite irresponsible, and they have assumed that winning for their side is equivalent to winning for everybody.
Okay.
They have not taken wise counsel that was offered. Some of the wise counsel offered was stop where you are now. Let's go and set up a caretaker committee, try to bend backward over, manage everybody until we can find something that is seemingly, may not be 100%, seemingly acceptable and agreeable. Now, I pray, tell me, what kind of party leader stands in front of his own party platform and is inviting the president of another country to come and help him resolve the kinds of issues that they know for themselves that they are the ones that cause it, especially that you are a son. You should know by simple elementary law that if you don't resolve a matter in the court of appeal, you can't be pretending as if you are the law to yourself. Democracy runs on the fact that the truth of issues will come before the court will adjudicate, and you will have to accept the doctrine of what the pronouncement of court, especially if it's a judgment. And if you don't accept it, you can go to the court of appeal. But if you build something on nothing, you're going to create, of course, that's what they've done now. They've created PDP into a platform of burden. Anybody who wants to contest an election in 2027 must reasonably be burdened as to the risk of that platform. And wait, Nigeria is not going to become a one-party state because PDP did not produce candidates. There are other political parties. I take back everything we've been saying about the ADC. As things stand now, they're even looking much more better organized and sharper. I don't know what success they will have or not have, but if anybody is saying that because PDP is fighting itself, clawing its own eyes, tearing its own clothes, tear gassing itself, beating itself, that means that, oh, the democracy is going to be destroyed. That's a damn lie. Democracy is not going to be destroyed.
Okay, Mr. Shomi, you obviously are passionate about what is happening in PDP, and it comes through from the way you have spoken. Quite a number of things that will need a little bit of clarifications. For example, the convention that was held in Ibadan, there are some courts say don't, and other courts say go ahead. But there was also, as you mentioned, wise counsel, from a chieftain of the PDP that says, hold on, form a committee, resolve these issues. Where did the impunity, which is obviously the problem inside PDP right now, where would you say it started, and how did it fester?
Well, I think that this current one started because for some reason, for some curious reason, we have gone to the end of that annoying idea that was introduced in 1999. And what is that annoying idea with due respect to democracy? The annoying idea is to say governors are the leaders of party. That's why we have found ourselves in this mess. And the earlier our rivals, the APC, understand this, they will get themselves into the mess too eventually. When you say governors are the leaders of the party, sometimes if you are not very careful, they do an overreach. Look at the problems we have in the Southeast today. We don't have any governor per se in the Southeast anymore. And yet, a governor from the Southwest, thinks that it is easy for him to now go and start interfering with the activities of the people in the Southeast, forgetting that from history and by pattern of behavior, sometimes it's best to allow people to resolve their own zonal issue in their zone.
Yeah.
But when you want to move from G5 and become G1 and then cause a problem for us in the Southeast, we're going to have a problem. When you were doing your G5 and we were telling you that this is anti-party, did you listen? So if you want to suspend people or expel people, should you not have stood there first to expel yourself? Because in the first instance, there can be no smoke without fire. So the main agent provocateur of this whole thing is G1. Now, in the case of the governor of Bauchi State, he must look at himself in the mirror and know that he has no capacity to provide leadership. That platform of Governors Forum was the same platform of Governors Forum that Governor Wike, now Minister Wike, was a member of. He wasn't even chairman of that forum. How did he manage all of them to also get something that seems like a reasonable outcome? He has to manage less men, and all they can seem to do is bring thugs there and start doing all this kind of nonsense, and they want the Nigerian people to truly say, oh, these men are ready now to provide leadership for the country under the circumstances that we have found ourselves. I think it's too late. I think they have bruised themselves too much. I think anybody that tries to be reasonable and fair-minded and maybe balanced is an enemy to them. I think they want people to just come and start helping them to blame Wike for everything, including if they cannot impregnate their wives. And I won't do that. There are times when you say, oh, Wike, please cool. There are times when you say, oh, Wike, cool down here. But there are times when you have to look at the facts. What are the facts here? These people will not come and tell you that all of them, Bala inclusive, and the entire PDP governors submitted names of 10 people to the president to help them appoint. Is that not anti-party? You gave Wike permission to go and serve in a government of national unity. You can't make a mountain out of no hill. And if you wanted to do it, sometimes you want to do a good thing, you can't do it in a bad way. You could have waited, got into your convention, planned your convention properly, and transmit from the IU-led NWC that you guys all put together. And among the people that caused this problem for us, the National Public Secretary must be fingered. Because he was the one who didn't understand that being in control of the handle of the political party makes it very difficult for you to become an interested party in the conflict. He kept using the handle to push one side against the other, until now you have this mess. So I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, 2027, let's go through the country. Where would they even be standing? Where's the numbers in the north? Where are the governors in the south-south? Where are the governors in the southwest? Where are the governors in the southeast? If they say governors are the primus inter pares, where are all our governors? Do they think that all the governors that are living are so, poor to the point that they want to take money? Because anytime you give an opinion that seems like it supports what's going on in the country, they come and start shouting, you are waiting for an appointment, you are looking for money, as if everybody is as wretched as their miserable fathers. The fact of the matter is that if you are not running the party well, if you are not allowing the country to go well, people are going to accept that the political party is not the place to sit down and be solving quarrel every day. Ask them, what are they fighting on?
Mr. Shomi, if I may just quickly come in at the moment. I can see that you're one of the aggrieved members of the PDP at the moment. You are not smiling concerning what is happening in your own party.
I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Oh, absolutely. What we saw yesterday was a show of shame for your party. But at the moment, defections are hitting your party. We are likely to see more governors move from your party to the APC. Are you worried with this development hitting the PDP at this time? And secondly, what do you make of the role of the security operatives at what transpired yesterday at the Wadata Plaza?
Don't mind them. Don't mind them at all. Kudos to the security operators. If you didn't have them there, they probably would have shot at themselves and killed themselves. Perhaps next time when they want to fight, when they call security, security should not go. So maybe when they kill themselves, they will understand why cases go to court and why they must respect court orders. You will claim you have internal affairs. You will not show anything that is decent and respectable for even young children to see. If this was how Awolowo did politics, people like us will not be interested in it. If this was how Tafawa Balewa did politics, nobody will be interested. If this was how Ojukwu Ako and Azikwe did politics, who's going to be interested? They've passed on the baton to a bunch of irresponsible people because we are not allowing them to face
Mr. Shomi, you have to be careful with the choice of your words this morning. Let's be civil with what you're saying.
These words are well considered. And I hold the liability, I hold myself liable for every word I'm using. I'm a media person as well, and I understand the business of public speak. I've not directed abuses at any one of them, but some of these people need to be told in clear language that this is embarrassing. Now, you ask the other question, the governors are leaving. If I were a governor, especially, I pity the one in Osun. Before he knows what's happening to him, he will find out that they won't be able to produce candidate there because of this misbehavior. We've just done Anambra under the watch of these men who are calling themselves lovers of the party. How much mobilization did they do there? How much financial support did they put there? How did they produce a candidate that could not even get any numbers? They are not talking about messaging. They are not talking about party stabilization. They are not talking about solution. They're just sitting there in one place fighting over nothing. And guess who their next person they blame? If they have finished blaming Wike, the next person they're going to blame is they're going to blame the president, Bala Tinubu, as if he's supposed to come into their party for them to come and help them organize it. I don't get it.
You know, Mr. Shomi, listening to you for the last few minutes, the things you've been saying, you've painted a picture of a disabled or a fractured PDP. And you've also made it look like you are not a part of the PDP because you keep saying them. So I want to ask you a question, sir. Are you yourself planning to jump out of the PDP? If you're not, what does it look like if the PDP can then begin to have the conversation of rebuilding the party? Because clearly it would seem like the PDP was not prepared to get out of power since 2015, which has affected the party so badly to where you are now. Can you fix the PDP?
If I were not to be a member of the PDP and I was not interested in this party, I won't be talking with this kind of passion about it. When I say them, it is because I can produce receipts of all of the effort I have put personally to make us just be reasonable. And I can finger them and mention them by name and date and time. All of the efforts that they will just be pretending that a difficult problem can be surface managed. When they started, clawing at themselves, I went to them. I said, gentlemen, be wrong together. It's easier for us to deal with. Be right together. It's easier for us to manage. What you cannot do is to split the NWC. Didn't they end up splitting it? Did they listen? How could they have been brought together to come and work together, and then the only thing they can see to do is just make the whole thing look so messy? And then you ask me, can it be fixed? Of course it can be fixed. I expect that with the greatest of respect to the judiciary, help us with the Court of Appeal pronouncement quickly. So that if you pronounce at the Court of Appeal quick enough and let it be enforced, governments don't enforce themselves. It's the responsibility of the executive to enforce judgment. And the executive must not be politically unwilling to say these matters are arrested by court orders. The judgment is in now. If you cannot, Justice Abdul Malik, Justice Malik, she gave one quote one day when I was in court, and I found that quote always coming to my mind. She said, political parties, you have your constitution, which should guide you. Political parties, you have your NWC, which should guide you. Political parties, when you come to court and we give you interpretation based on what we need, it should guide you. If all these three does not guide you, go to another political party and apply your ambition. And if you cannot go to another political party, find something much more useful to do with your time. Every time I remember that she said that when she was in Abeokuta and we're sitting in front of her for judgment, I always feel like just say, wow, truer words have not been said. Must we be a nation having a lot of challenges with insecurity? And among the challenges we'll be having with insecurity, we will now be having challenges with a bunch of over-pampered, overfed, mismanaged people claiming that they are running parties.
Yeah. In
the first time, what were governors doing in NWC? Is that the states that they gave them to manage? Why are they not in their states? If you do an issue, you wait for judgment. The FCT is in charge of Abuja, and he has a bigger responsibility to make sure that he provides security here. Why did you come in here to come and start making a mess?
Yeah. Mr. Shomi, we all agree that, it was a show of shame what we saw yesterday, because like I said earlier on, the world is watching, Nigerians are watching. At the end of the day, the conversation will be, if you cannot fix your party, how do you then want to fix Nigeria? But you said something very important.
Exactly.
You said something very important, that it can still be fixed and PDP can stand tall again, because at the end of the day, it's an umbrella and everybody's supposed to be under the umbrella. But the problem we're having here now is the people, because we see that certain people want to take control. Nobody wants to bend for anybody. So how are you able to now change the mind of the people to make sure that they now listen to one another? Because from what you're saying, you have been giving them good things to take, but they're not taking it. So how do you now change the mind of the people for PDP to be fixed again and stand strong?
The first and most important thing they need to understand is that I thought about this problem for a long time. In the first instance, because I know we are in a box now, I thought, okay, what's the best way for us to even manage ourselves? There are two issues on the table. How do we get a candidate? And how do we manage the party? Clearly, the competence of the men that have been managing the party is too weak. You need to bring better quality people to help them bring better ideas, better processes to manage party. Then for the candidate, You need to try and listen and stimulate people to come up with their ambition first by talking about solutions. You can't tell us in the country that you want to become president of Nigeria when, in the first instance, we're not hearing anything from you other than saying is the man on the seat is not doing well. Yeah, everybody says the man on the seat is not doing well. Then you give them the chance, they can't even move anything. So there's a way you can go around it. But the first is that they need to stop digging. If they've ever shared bread with each other, they can go back to that emotion. If they've ever drank in each other's houses, they can go to that emotion. If they've ever shared money with themselves, they can go to that emotion. If they've ever planned strategy together, they can go to that emotion. Politics does not mean enmity. We don't even have to be enemies with our rivals. How much more with ourselves?
Yeah.
So the earlier we understand that, we revert all of these silly decisions, come back to a room, and then say, okay, what is the best line of feet to get us out of this mess?
Yeah.
Not for the sake of whether they can win or not win, so that the party does not die.
You know, but let me just ask you a quick question. You know, what role can Wike play in, you know, to make PDP stand again? Because since he's the one that they're always blaming, he's the problem, he's this, is that, what role do you think that he can play?
You know, oh God, you asked a great question. I've always said, privately, publicly, and on television, the one person that has the gravitas to help them come back to being a bit of the semblance of what they are is him. Because I don't know how he does it. He seems to have the ability to put in energy, and he's a very truthful man. The language can be very harsh, and sometimes it can be very annoying, but he's truthful. But unfortunately, he's now serving as a minister. So maybe, I don't know what they're going to have to do, but imagine for a second, have they even thought through what it even means? Running the country, running the election, the 2027 election, we don't have Rivers, we don't have the Delta, we don't have Bayelsa, we don't have Akwa Ibom, all our big boys that can help us with some resource, because let's cut out the chase. You need some resource for these things. So how are we going to do it? So I think Wike has a role to play, but I think that poking him, putting their fingers in his eyes, pretending as if his soul is the devil and they are angels is not going to help. The earlier all of them look at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, gentlemen, our fathers gave us this legacy. What are we going to do with it? The better for everybody.
Okay, you've identified weak leadership as one of the problems plaguing the PDP right now. And the convention is supposed to take care of that, where PDP members elect new leaders. But there is in fact, what we are discussing today is because of the convention. So the convention itself is a major problem. With what happened yesterday at Wadata, who controls it? Who will Nigerians say this is the real PDP that we wish to follow? And hey, you did not, just to remind you, you didn't answer the question about whether you will move to another party. So
but
maybe
I will
you can.
leave.
Yes.
Well, yes, okay, let me say, in terms of control of the building, bottom line is that we've gone through this route before. We've gone the Alimo the Sheriff situation before. It took us getting a caretaker in Makarfi to come off right now while we went through the court, and then the court took a decision. Yeah. We all agreed, and then we ended up with the secondus. There's always a playbook that you can follow if you are not insisting that you are wiser than everybody. And asking me whether I will leave the PDP, hey, can I tell you for free? If people are asking me to contest. Certainly if I'm going to contest, I'm going to leave them. Because anybody who goes to contest on the platform of the PDP now may just end up finding himself in this Zamfara situation, which will be, all of your effort, you have built something or nothing, and all of the votes or whatever you garnered is lost. In any case, in trying to determine who to support and who not to support, you must look at the candidate. I'm not interested in somebody who wants to be president that cannot even move the envelope. I'm not interested in somebody who will not allow us to see that we're making progress in a steady direction towards a better life. I'm not interested in somebody just saying, I want to be president for president's sake. The issues on the table are much. And I will say, those of them in charge of the executive, there is no need for you to be so cowed because of public relation issues to the extent that you will not be able to call your Attorney General to give you an interpretation of the judgment that's in front of you and take an executive decision on which to implement. You can't run the country as if it's laissez-faire. Everybody can be doing whatever they want, anyhow they want, however they want. If everybody goes to serve, what kind of country would it? Imagine if all the other 17 political parties were breaking chairs, doing tear gas in the country. What kind of image do you think we have? Shame on us.
All right, Mr. Shomi, quickly before we let you go this morning, you said earlier that Wike is the only truthful person in the PDP at the moment. How loyal is the?
I didn't say he's the only. I didn't say he's the only truthful person. I said he is truthful.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you term anti-party activities? Because the Turaki-led faction of your party said he's been playing anti-party politics in the PDP.
Well, to be fair to Taminu Turaki has never indulged in anti-party, so I won't say he's part of them. Shall you say the same about Seyi Makinde?
I'm talking about some Wike. Okay.
Shall you? Now, the point I'm making is that we are in a situation where all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. The earlier they start pontificating and grandstanding among themselves, the better for everybody.
Oh boy.
If they had not been that way, it would have been easy. But they've all done it. We can produce the evidence. Who did they vote for in Ibadan in Oyo State in the last election? When it was convenient for him, did he do not do anti-party? Or is Governor Bala going to tell me that he didn't put a list of
Thank you so much, sir. We see how passionate that you are talking to us. Thank you, PDP chieftain and convener, The Alternative, Segun Shomi. Thank you very much for joining us on the conversation, and we can only wish PDP the very best. Thank you, sir.
Wish Nigerian democracy the very best, actually.
You know, but at the end of the day, he's made a lot of comments. You know, these comments are really bold comments that he's made. He said it, you know, that he may leave, you know, because if he wants to contest, it seems like the PDP has now dented their image that even if you want to contest under them, it's going to be very difficult.
Yes, for every political party, you need a base. And the way things are in the PDP right now, the base is eroded, you know, and a big party like that is having this kind of leadership crisis. Who would want to fly the flag?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, I asked him something which is very important, talking about Wike, because we know that Wike plays a great role, but oftentimes they have castigated him a whole lot. And I've been thinking about it. I said, for this party to really stand again, this person, you need him for it to stand again.
Well, but if you have listened to a Wike-led faction of the PDP, they've been saying that expelling Wike at this time is even long overdue. That is something they should have done before. You know, Wike, they said this is someone who is still in the PDP working for the APC and who has even endorsed President Bola Tinubu for the 2027 general election. So he has been doing, they said allegedly that he has been doing anti-party activities. That's why I raised the question with Segun Shomi to give his response on that.
Like Shomi rightly said, he pointed out quite a number of other persons within the party who has also been playing the so-called anti-party game within the PDP. The matter is really not about, should I use the phrase again, anti-partyism. It's about the ability of the PDP to provide the kind of internal leadership they require to put their house in order. Since 2015, they've been crippled, and the crippling is
over and over again.
Bear in mind that today, that the Turaki-led faction, they are holding their meeting today, so we are likely to see another drama.
We hope not. We hope not, because at the end of the day, Emmanuel, is very shameful. I've been saying it, the whole world is watching. To see our big weights like that, tear gas and all of that, it's not the very best. You're wondering that this party that was standing so tall before now deteriorated to this kind of shame.
So whilst I agree with Honorable Shomi that Wike has a major role or some role to play in bringing the PDP together, I don't think the entire weight of bringing the PDP back together should be put on Wike's shoulder. That will be too much on him.
It will be too much. It will be way too much on him. Like you said, we wish Nigeria's democracy the best. We wish the PDP the best. We do not want to see, you know, that kind of big fight and tension again. But